Mason, you want to do it?
We are back. We are here. We are in LA. The boys are in LA.
We made it.
We made it.
Out of the group chat.
yeah. The trip made it out of the group chat.
The plans made it out of the group chat, and we've been here for the past few days, and it's been wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
It has.
And
Loving it here.
we went to Vidiots in Eagle Rock last night, which is a really cool rep screening theater. Rep theater, and we watched a screening of
Taste of Cherry.
very
Yeah.
distinct.
But yeah, first time at Vidiots for us.
Yeah.
How many?
First time seeing something at
Oh,
Vidiots.
you've been to the rental
I've been to the
space.
rental
Okay,
place.
gotcha.
Beautiful space.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Really nice staff.
Yes.
Very cute spot. Like, I don't know, just good community feel.
Yeah.
Same sort of vibe as Belcourt.
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
get where you're just like, you know.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Non-profit.
Yeah. Love to support the local theaters.
Yeah.
But yeah, we figured since we're here, we got a little bit of time before another viewing tonight.
Yeah.
Which will probably be on the pod.
Yeah,
We're seeing Mickey 17 in a few hours, but before we're doing that,
Another bong hit.
Yeah, we're talking about that cherry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, cherry.
Do we want to get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Zero prep, by the way. So please excuse us, but we're fresh off.
So just a little background. This is Kiarostami's 1997 film. It won the Palme d'Or.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty. I mean, it garnered pretty quick critical acclaim. I feel like.
Yeah, once the film's out, it was pretty clear to me why it was.
Yes.
Why it received the praise that it did.
And I'd already seen it before,
Yeah.
but it was the first time for you all.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
What did we think? Initial reactions.
Well,
Beautiful.
I walked out and I said that was one of the best movies I've ever seen.
I've only ever
did say
given Kiarostami's films. Okay, I think the star rating system can be reductive and it can do more harm than good.
Preface.
And yeah, that said, I've only given his films 5 stars. I've seen Close Up. I've seen
Where's the friend's house?
Where's the Friend's House, and then I saw Taste of Cherry last night, and I'm happy to announce that the streak continues. This is a 5
The
for
peak,
me,
if you will.
I don't know. I think I was saying to Mason and Jacob last night. Like, the more films you watch, the more you appreciate what Kiarostami's doing, because it's his own lane, and really it's like his style of a direction, but also his voice in terms of his writing is kind of bar none. And especially with like the budget that he was working on with like Close Up, and I mean it's clear that he had a bit more funds at his disposal with this one because it just looks
It looks
gorgeous.
very
Yeah.
it looks very cinematic.
Yeah, it does.
Not that like
It's a little bit less
Higher fidelity.
verite
Yeah,
than Close Up.
yeah, not that Close Up isn't cinematic, but just this movie feels more like a movie.
It's also I mean he's kind of like playing with the form more in Close Up, and this is more kind of structured as like a movie.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
we'll cut this.
what did I want to say? Oh, so Kiarostami directed it, produced it, wrote it, and edited it. Very impressive.
Yeah.
Like that's
I mean, the auteur vision shines through.
It goes hand in hand with another Palme d'Or winner, Sean Baker.
Shout out.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had already seen it, and I remember liking it quite a bit, and it had really stayed in my head. It was one where I was like, I really need to rewatch that. And I remember we almost watched it quite a few times.
Yeah.
Like it was always kind of like
Yeah.
in the discussion to watch it.
Yes.
And I don't remember it being that good. Like, I was just like kind of blown away by the writing, specifically the writing. Like,
Yes.
Like,
okay. To be like fully transparent, a bit of a slow start. in my opinion.
I mean, it's honestly that the first half of the movie is pretty slow. I mean, it's a slow movie.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's it's slow, but it's engaging like the whole time.
Yes, yeah. It never really lost me, and I never really
No.
my mind never wandered.
No, yeah.
Like I definitely felt pretty cozy. And it was a long day. So,
yeah, we've had a long
so
trip.
I was feeling a little sleepy, but not that has nothing to do with the movie. I was fully locked in the whole time. So
I feel like, I mean, I can't speak to close up. It's been a little bit since I've seen that. But where's the friend's house? It's kind of like you got to get the ball rolling a little bit. It's never like
The inciting action happens when the kid realizes that he has the wrong person's homework,
which
and
is like 15 minutes into
it's
the story.
pretty
The movie.
It gets to it.
It's not a Michael Mann movie where you're like, oh my gosh, 1 minute in.
I wouldn't say it meanders, but it's definitely slow to start. And I mean, we spent a lot of time in the guy's car. Like,
Well, that's the thing. Like Kiarostami in cars, like that is Kiarostami. Like if you think
I've
about,
never heard that, actually.
If you think about like
close up, yeah.
it's all cars. I know where's the friend's house is not as much cars. But
on foot, but still it's traveling.
Yes,
It's travel.
and the rest of the Coker trilogy is
That's a really interesting point, actually.
is mainly cars. There's a bunch of there's like Bresson hands, Bergman faces.
I guess, I mean, it's a physical representation of a journey, which is essentially what a movie is at its core.
And I think for this movie, it's like representative of like simultaneously like a safe place for the protagonist, and also like it's suffocating. I feel like
That it encloses him, and
Yes,
he's
it encloses
everybody else
him.
is outside, and he's always in his car.
and it's I mean his mind is enclosed.
Like,
Like
he's
I don't mean to reach, but it's
No,
like,
no, no, I
even,
got you. Yeah.
Well, even just like the way that it lingers on that shot of him, like him facing the passenger seat, and it's almost like he's backed into a corner.
Yes, yeah.
I also think it gives us a window into how suffocating his mind is, because the first time he picks up the cadet student who's in the army, he tries to phenomenal scene. We see our protagonist just like unenthused by life, and he's contemplating suicide, and he's literally asking this young boy to come and throw dirt on him if he decides to end his life. And then
which I knew nothing about the movie, so when we got to why he was like looking for someone to pick up, that
It's like, whoa.
yeah.
Yeah,
it's also I sort of knew what it was about going into it, but it felt so antithetical to everything I knew about Kiarostami, because I was like, he's one of the most hopeful directors. I don't know if that's the correct word, but like
he's usually optimistic.
there's a sort of childlike optimism to the tone of all of his films that I've seen.
Yes.
And I was like, because I knew suicide was a topic of this film, so I was like, how are we going to get that like usual Kiarostami flavor? And it comes through. But he's in the car with this young cadet student, and he's asking the cadet if they still do this one exercise. And for the first time, we see the protagonist's face like light up. He gets excited because
He says the youth was the best time of his life.
yeah, that the time in the army was like the best years of his life.
It was like scary.
And like, he recounts the story. It's really beautiful, and the kid's extremely introverted, but he opens up a bit once they realize that they have that shared experience, and so they get to the top of the hill, and our protagonist is trying to talk him into it because the kid just doesn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
And it gets so intense that he like runs out of the car and just doesn't come back.
And this is like 20 minutes.
At first,
we spend a lot of time with him.
At first, we think he's changing his mind to go look at the hole, and like that he's taking him up on his offer. But no, he keeps on running and just runs back. So
it's a pretty funny moment.
Yeah, it's very.
The
funny.
kid's just like.
There's a lot of funny moments in this film.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. It's fun.
I mean, Kiarostami's good at that. He kind of can. He doesn't want it to be. He never wants it to be too depressing.
But
this isn't a Lars von Trier film.
It just shows how unenjoyable it is to like ruminate in that space mentally.
Yeah.
And I guess like it's a literal representation of him leaving the cars, like him freeing himself from that space.
And I think that when I first watched it, I thought that kid was like gonna do it because we spent so much time with him.
Yeah, me too.
It's like this can't be for nothing, but then he just moves on.
It was a great release
Yeah.
Great build up.
I'm glad he was able to get out of there.
It was.
Yeah.
And then he goes on to try to find someone else, and I think the next one's the guard, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I should add that like we're flying. This is like 30 minutes in or like 35 minutes in.
I mean,
there's a lot of
what's
just
the
sitting
first
with-
30 minutes is driving.
Yeah.
There is literally like 10 minutes of like
It's a very visual.
cut on
film.
his face,
Yeah.
cut outside the car, cut on his face, cut outside his car.
Yeah.
Like it's just kind of like
The dialogue definitely occurs in chunks.
yes. I was gonna say there's not really any dialogue for the first like 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
There's like a couple lines.
And then there's after. I mean, we're gonna get to the interaction with the guard, but after the guard, there's a significant portion where he doesn't talk to anybody, and then we meet the next character.
The big character. But yeah, so he tries to go to a guard, and I mean, I get that doesn't really work out either.
I think we should note is that like he gets up there to the post, and they greet each other.
Yeah,
and
he's making an omelet.
yeah, he offers him. He's like, "Hey, can I make you any tea?" He's like, "No." And then they get to talking, and he's like, "Man, we should like do you want to like get out, take a walk or something?" All just like trying to get the ball rolling so he can ask him to get in his car and help him go, commit this act. But the guard really isn't having it. But he's like, "Hey, I'm making an omelet. Do you want something?" So there are all these people around him that are offering him help or trying to connect with him. And our protagonist is just rejecting every opportunity because he's so closed off and he has his mind made up of what he's going to do.
Yeah, and I was telling you all last night, like it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Like that just makes total sense.
It's such a realistic depiction of what depression looks like. And
Yes.
Yeah.
And just kind of like giving up all hope. And it's like at some point it's like you don't even want good news to come. Like you just you just want to like sulk and
when
be
you're
with
so
yourself. Like,
when you're so hell-bent on suffering, you are completely blinded to all of the resources and help that's available and being even offered to you.
yeah.
I think that's why this like movie's long stretches of no dialogue and like awkward silence is like perfect because it lets you really sit with that.
Yeah, it's quite impressive. I mean, it's almost like a silent film, and I feel like we get to know him so much in 30 minutes.
Yep.
And he's really doing nothing but driving.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to how it's framed and shot and how it's edited, and then also his facial expressions for the main actors.
Did we skip over? Was the guard the one who was studying at seminary?
No, that's the guy outside the post.
That's the guy after. I also
that's
think
the guy he picks up.
I think we skipped him getting his car stuck. Although that might be after.
Oh, that's a great
I think that's
Yeah.
after the seminary.
the
guy.
omelet. Oh, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
the order of events.
Yeah.
It all kind of just
Meshes together.
like
Yeah.
melts in the brain.
Because I think that's when he goes back down, and then he like doesn't he get out of his car and he's looking at the machine that's like pulling up dirt from the
Yes.
earth.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The shots of like his shadow.
Ooh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was cooking there.
Oh my gosh.
Kiarostami was like, let me cook.
We should talk about
That was haunting.
the truck scene though when he falls off the road or
Yeah,
when
we
he's
should.
retired.
We should, but he's like he's failed a second time and he goes back down the mountain and he gets stuck like pretty bad and there's
Like a
these
little ditch.
but there's like these workers. I don't know if they're like convicts or something, but they're just like doing like
Laborers, yeah.
there's like
Yeah,
laborers.
they're just getting
There's
paid.
like laborers and they just in a very like cute and endearing moment they all see this like right off the bat and they go up to him, smiles and laughing, and just lift the car up for him while he's in the car.
They're like borderline celebrating that they
Yeah.
can help.
Yeah.
It's like really special. It's a
Yeah,
special.
it's a
moment.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's like it cuts to him at the very end, and he just like thank you, like monotone, and
Yeah.
he just like wants to get out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't want that. He doesn't want any part in the smiling and the celebratory nature of things. That's one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, that was
That's a great scene.
yeah.
So then he meets the friend, the guy that's cooking the omelets. That's
Yeah.
the guard.
Yeah.
His friend
Is in the seminary.
is in
Okay,
the
gotcha,
seminary.
yeah.
And then it kind of starts taking a religious angle,
Yeah.
and it kind of starts openly
It's like,
talking
oh, well,
about
the
like.
Quran says you shouldn't take your own life.
Yes.
That,
And he's like, I'm going to commit suicide. Like he's kind of dancing around it
yeah.
earlier, and he's like,
Yeah.
no, he's like, I'm not like. He doesn't want to say it. He's just like, I'm going to get in that grave if I don't wake up. Just throw some dirt on me. He's always kind of like, dancing around it. But then it kind of starts opening up, and he starts talking about it, and we get some insane lines of dialogue with the seminary.
Yeah. It's really great stuff. Let
me see if I can find some lines.
Okay.
Okay, all the quotes are the last guy.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
Which makes sense. Because like after that, he's just like, I mean, the seminary person like refuses. It's like, I'm not gonna do this.
Yeah.
Right. And then
he decides not to. Yeah.
Yes, and then it interestingly just like he's like, I'm not going to. He gets out of the car, and then it cuts. And then he's just driving, and someone else is in the car, and we haven't met him.
Yeah,
we don't meet the museum professor.
He's the taxidermy guy.
Guess. Yeah. He said he says he works at the museum. I assume he's a professor, or some such thing.
Yeah, but what's really important is that this guy has a similar experience to our main character. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Speak on that.
Does anybody recount the story? You want to go for it?
Man, it's tricky because I wanna give it justice, but it's still like such a fresh watch. I don't know how to.
Well, we've done a lot since then.
Yeah, I don't know how to say it, in a very articulate manner, but essentially he's in the car with this guy, and it's like the last guy where he's very point blank about what he wants to do, and the guy in the passenger seat begins to tell him this story about when he woke up one morning and he decided that he was going to kill himself. And I don't remember exactly where he went or what was happening, but he was under a mulberry tree, and a mulberry fell off, and he grabbed it and ate it. And then when he tasted how good the mulberry was, his soul reawakened basically, and he started noticing all the little details of life and realized that life is worth living.
And I feel like on paper that feels a little silly, but it's like somehow it just comes across as like so
the most
earnest.
beautifully poignant and beautifully poignant thing ever.
And then he's like I ate the mulberries, and then he was like, I saw the sunset, I saw the sunrise.
My favorite part.
Don't you want to ever do that? Like,
yeah. I think he climbed up the tree with the rope because he was going to hang himself.
Yes.
And then he tasted a mulberry. And then there were children below him who saw that he was on the mulberry tree, and they told him to shake the mulberry tree. And so he got to shake the tree, and all the berries fell, and everybody got to enjoy the mulberries. And he brought a bucket home to his wife.
Yeah.
And that was just, I thought that was the most beautiful thing. That's like quintessential Kiarostami.
Yeah. And this man goes on gives one of the most beautiful speeches in cinema.
The
the next 5 minutes.
Seriously, it reminded me of
kids
Tarkovsky.
thing is and the Kiarostami kids thing is like, we came back last night and watched some of his Iranian short films that were made through like an institution for educational kids stuff, and I feel like he's just so absorbed by like that childlike wonder.
I mean, I was sort of joking last night, but I was like, Kiarostami was like Mr. Rogers for adults, but he really is. He really is, and he was that sort of for kids, in Iran. But he approaches these heavy subjects with such a sense of reverence, but also nuance, that he's able to make points with like a lot of care, and a message can be received at various levels of comprehension with ease.
Yeah.
And it's a really special gift that he has. And I mean, beyond that, he's obviously got an eye for film.
Sure,
and he
was playing with the form, as we'll get to with the epilogue.
He's a wonderful storyteller. And it really just makes for like a beautiful experience. And so we see a protagonist take this man. The man asks to get dropped off at his place of work, and so he lets him out of the car.
And during this, I did find because this is
ahead.
like one of my favorite
do your
things.
thing.
If you look at the 4 seasons, each season brings fruit. In summer, there's fruit. In autumn, too. Winter brings different fruit, and spring, too. No mother can fill her fridge with such a variety of fruit for her children. No mother can do as much for her children as God does for his creatures. You want to refuse all that? You want to give it all up? You want to give up the taste of cherries? And during all that, we're just kind of like seeing Iran and the car driving. And it's just like
you see children playing like at a playground.
They're driving through like farmland too.
And it's golden hour. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. You see animals. You see the sunset. You know, it's just like it goes back to all the stuff that he's talking about.
Mm-hmm. So he drops off this man at his place of work, and he drives on for a little bit, and then he turns around. Am I skipping over anything?
No, I mean that's basically we've basically got that point.
He heads back up, and asks the person at the box office if he can see this professor or this employee.
Yeah.
And they're like, you got to buy a ticket. So he buys a ticket, and
he's like, yeah, sure, whatever.
He goes up to the space because this man works in taxidermy. And so he clearly disturbs like a session. Like they're working right now.
Yeah, he's like...
and he comes out, and I forget what he asks him, but I love...
Oh, he says, will you throw 2 stones on me because I might be asleep?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Because his job is to make sure call his name and make sure he doesn't get up. But so then he's like, I might be asleep.
So he's changing the verbiage, indicating that his mind has sort of been
and he's like, you know what? I'll throw 3 stones on you just to make sure.
He keeps on asking him questions, and this is what I love. I absolutely love this because the man is starting to be a little bit annoyed, and he's like setting boundaries of like he went so far, he went to such great lengths to help this. Our protagonist, and then our protagonist is finally starting to accept some of that help, but now he's nagging, and so the guy setting a boundary be like, okay, I gotta go do this. I'm glad that I've helped you reach this point, but he's like, I need to leave. Mm-hmm. So our protagonist, I think after that, does he just drive off?
Yeah, he just drives off, and then you see him at his house, and the lights are on through the windows, and then the lights go off, and you start hearing thunder, and you can feel a storm coming on, and then, I mean, we basically just... someone drives him out there, I guess, because I don't think it's him.
No,
and then he gets down in the grave, and we see this,
overhead shot of him.
Yeah, overhead shot of him just in the grave.
Mm-hmm. With some flashes of thunder and lightning, and you can see,
and it goes dark, and you're like, okay, it's ending, and then it lights again, and you're like, okay, and then it goes dark again, and you're like, oh, now it's over, and then we get an epilogue, which we haven't really talked about.
Yeah.
What do you all think about just like the ending, not the epilogue?
Oh, the ending?
Yeah, just.
I think it worked. I think it works great. Yeah. Like if we had ended with a cut to black, I felt like that would have not have worked at all. Mm-hmm. Not cut to black, but just like ended with
that sort of
that black
ambiguity.
Screen.
Yeah.
Really, you don't think that would have worked? Because what I was saying last night was I think that would have. That feels like an art house thing where it's like
it feels more typical.
Don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole point of the movie is that life is worth living. So
yes.
why would it be satisfying for him to just have like all that given to him and then just to potentially die?
Possibly. You just never know.
I think the whole point of the movie is that for people in that state, that change is possible, and you need to think about the little things that life gives you.
Yeah.
And then in typical Kiarostami fashion, we get
a subversion of that. Yeah.
Epilogue.
Yeah.
Someone speak on it.
I mean, we go from cut to black to a handheld footage from like a, you're
not really sure what's going on at first.
Like a
it's
video
just
recorder.
It just looks like VHS.
Kind of low fidelity. And you see the brigade of like cadets marching again, and someone's got like you see the post-production, or not post-production, the sound mixer or boom operator.
You see a boom pole.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
Yeah.
The heck?
And then
what were you all thinking?
You see someone with a megaphone like giving instructions. They're like, okay, you can stop. And then we're like, I was like, oh, is that Kiarostami? And then
Yeah, so it's like, what is going on? And then you see the main character just like
Driving
smoking
it.
a cigarette, just like
Yep.
he's just like chilling. He's like, all right, what do I need to do next? And then it's like, what is going on?
and then we see him driving his car start to go up the hill, and then cut to black.
Cut to black, and then it actually ends.
Yeah.
I think that's like one of the
Immensely
best
creative,
endings
yeah.
I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Not just because it's creative. I think it really really makes you think. It's not. It's just. It's like why would he do that? Like if
Because
you
I feel-
really sit down and think about it, I feel like that's like a tough question to answer. I do like I feel like I kind of sort of have an idea now.
So I feel like the point is that the ending on the black is not the end, and that there's more, even though
Yes.
Interesting.
yeah.
And it's almost like I don't know. I think a lot of people think it's like, hey, like that's like a movie. Like don't worry about that. You're in real life. And I feel like that almost kind of echoes like the main character gets told like, why would you want to go to the other side? Like when the people on the other side would like kill for like a day back here with like their loved ones and stuff. And it's like, I feel like it's almost kind of echoing that. I'm honestly still not totally sure though, and that's the fun of it.
I think it frames that sort of headspace that the protagonist is in, and so exiting that further, like heightens the idea that you can like there's a point beyond that depression or that
They're
state of
breaking the
mind or
fourth wall,
suffering. Yes,
literally.
Yeah. So it's saying, all right, our protagonist has been able to get out of this and even beyond that, we are exiting this space of the film to where we're showing reality, and so that how reality is obscured when you're in that headspace and you have that mental struggle.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's like it's like only a thing that Kiarostami would do.
Yeah.
Not like no other.
I literally don't think anybody else would do that.
No.
Yeah.
He's one of one. That is like incredibly unique ending. Just like Close Up is. Just like all of really Close Up, where it's like pseudo documentary and you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's narrative and documentary.
This is our first Kiarostami, by the way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sadly.
It's crazy. We talked about him a good bit, but like I don't know. There are plenty of directors that we haven't done episodes on.
Yeah,
yet,
no.
but yeah.
Wait, we haven't even done Kubrick.
No, we haven't.
Nope.
We haven't
Wow.
done Scorsese. We haven't done
We've done Glazer.
Glazer. Yeah.
We've
have a lot of
We've
gaps.
done Malick, we've done Tark, we've done Bergman. Anyway.
Yeah. We haven't done Hitchcock.
Nope.
We haven't done Billy Wilder.
No, we haven't
Yeah.
done Hitchcock. Have we done? I mean, there's so many. Like we haven't done Howard Hawks. We haven't.
Yeah.
Done, like.
Either way,
We got homework.
We're talking about a goat.
Yeah. And this is definitely one of my favorite theater experiences in recent memory.
Special watching it now.
If you need food for the soul, and if you want to be uplifted, you need to watch this movie right now.
Yep.
Kiarostami will take good care of you.
He will. He will
And
nurture you back to health.
Yeah.
I think Ethan asked me this before we watched it, but he was like, "Are we gonna be like on a low? Are we gonna be depressed?" And I was like, "I can't say anything," but no, not really. It's more like hopeful
No,
than
absolutely.
anything.
I
feel
think
like,
so. Yeah.
which is really nice. Okay, Mulholland Drive.
Any closing thoughts?
I just think like we need to do the Coker trilogy, and I would like anyone out there that's listening to this, I would highly recommend the Coker trilogy because that's by far the best trilogy I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really touching and really beautiful. Just
One of
a kind.
Wow.
So one.
Yeah.
I just love he's in that category with like Malick where it's like you always just kind of know you're in good hands and it's not really ever going to get depressing. You know, it's like you always kind of feel safe. in
Safe's a good
yours.
word. Yeah.
It's not necessarily like Glazer or anything. which sometimes that's good. But
Yeah.
it's like if I need to pick me up, just throw on a Kiarostami movie. That's what's great about him.
Yeah.
I love him.
All right.
Who wants to see us out?
This has been the LA edition of the Fresh Face Film Bro. Roll that outro music.
Yeah.
Nicely done.